I've come across a lot of mothers with young children, 13, 14, 15-year-olds. And my daughter was only 21, but at an age of 12, and they're committing suicide.
Well, it shocks everyone, mate. We were losing one young person here a week. They were just hanging themselves left, right and centre.
I don't think that mental health services are overwhelmed. I think that there is an insufficient amount available, and it is very much a one-size-fits-all approach, and it doesn't. So Heather was the second of 3 of our children who chose death by suicide. Brock, then Heather, and then Reuben, 2019 through to the end of 2020. When I found out about Heather, I stopped functioning. And mentally where I was in a holding pattern. I was in this pattern of, if I just stay away from everybody, and if I just sort of sit here in the office, I'll be fine. I had made it very clear I wanted no interaction with people. I was happy to just sit in that office. And I took 5 weeks, was not enough time. Spent time with Darren actually just 2 days ago talking about the effect of not recognising that and not being recognised.
You grow up installed by your parents that you got to take all this stuff on. Obviously your wives work, but any type of hard emotional stuff, you sort of take it on. You're supposed to be the guy that fixes it, and that is my weakest thing. I try and fix everything, and it's like admitting you're a failure, sort of thing. If you're in your perception that you can't fix it.
I was looking for someone to say, it's okay, just take your time, whatever you do, I've got you. And that was missing. By making it a subject that we can't talk about freely, it's like anything else. It's like 20 years ago talking about different sexuality or different ways that our minds, neurodiversity. We need to have that level of comfort in facing the causes, the reasons that people choose to take that final step. So taboos are, or tapu in Maori, they are things that are in place like rules to be broken.
My grandson is my second oldest child. Where he had done it at his cousin's place, she'd only just buried her partner at Christmas time because he'd hung himself in the shed at the back of their house. They seemed like they've got no future. They've got no hope. They think they've got nothing to live for. So, well, we might as well just take our life and get the hell out of here, which is very sad for anyone. But that's the biggest thing. There's no support. There's no support for people to go and talk to. Or I know a lot of people have in their mind that going to commit suicide, they don't talk to anyone. They just plan it and plan it very secretly to themselves. But if there is support there, who knows, maybe they might go and have a bit of a chat. I'm not saying everyone, but might be an odd one out of it that could go and have a chat and tell them how they're feeling and why they're down and out and want suicide. So, yeah.
So my own battle with mental health, it will be ongoing. I'll have it for the rest of my life. I struggle with depression and anxiety. My experience with reaching out for mental health help has not been a good one. The help that I had sought was obviously the doctors through medication. They will give you a psychologist to go to, and my experience with those psychologists weren't really good. So for a lot of it, it was sort of self-medicating, trying to self-regulate sort of thing. And I do believe, through my art and my employment, I was able to sort of get to know myself and be able to work through that. It is taboo in Warwick to talk about it, whether it's because it's a small country town, I'm not sure, or people just uncomfortable with the topic of suicide and mental health. I think that plays a large part into it. But when people do reach out for help, pills are thrown at them. They don't get that time and care that they need. It's sort of they throw the quick fix, send them home and hope that everything will be fine.
I think the mental health system here is failing our people and our kids. It feels like they're not being listened to, and it feels like they're not being taken serious. And then they seem to be acting out and then getting themselves in trouble with the police or getting themselves in trouble with their families, breaking up with their families, losing their children. And it's just not working for anybody really, because families are getting broken apart and then could end up in suicide, which it has. Between the ages of 13, 14, where they are allowed to have their sessions with the therapist by themselves, I think they know how to give the right answers just to tick the boxes, because if they say anything that's really, really, really affecting them, that they're scared that they're going to get put away or taken away from their families. A lot of what's happening with mob is outside influences, white influences, and that comes back to people not knowing who they are and where they're from. Growing up, acting white but feeling black, and you're not allowed to, be black. You've got to act a certain way to be integrated into the system. We sort of know the urgency. Sometimes you can see the urgency, but we just don't know what to do. If the clinical side's at a loss, we may be at a loss too, especially if we're not getting heard.
One of our friends suiciding when he was 17. That, I think, for me, was the first instance that I had to do with suicide. It's just something that's been quite prevalent, especially in the last 6 months. The guy that was just recent, his son has now had 5 people around him suicide. So it's just at epidemic proportions, I feel. I've got some friends that work in the mental health system, not in this town, but in another town, and I see what they're doing. And my friend, she's pretty unique in what she does. And she runs and is involved with a suicide prevention group too. I've mentioned to her a couple of things that have happened here. And she's like, what in the world is going on down there? There's services that come to this town that half of us didn't even know about. What can we do to create a change in our system here? We don't want to criticise it because it's obviously broken. There's been a lot of failures of many people. So what can we do now to change that?
Right back from the beginning, it started with a conversation with Ben, who's a mental health worker based in Brisbane, but regularly for his own mental health comes to Warwick. So we just had a conversation and he talked about the big anxiety and the Edge of the Present project.
As soon as I saw it, I knew that this was something really different, really powerful tool. It was helping us as a community think differently about mental health.
The Big Anxiety started in Sydney in 2017 as an arts festival looking at mental health, and the idea was really to develop community-based cultural resources for dealing with mental health and trauma, but really putting lived experience first. One of the pieces we developed for our 2019 festival was called Edge of the Present. And this came from workshops that we did with young men who'd experienced multiple suicide attempts. What came out of this was, in fact, the world's first lived experience-led suicide prevention tool that was developed by the lead artist, Alex Davies. And what we found was that after 8 or 10 minutes in this environment, people's mood really did improve significantly, and people's sense of hopefulness also improved. We're motivated by the fact that it's really hard to get good therapy in a public system. So our mission is really to take what you can do in really good therapy in terms of working with trauma and anxiety and, complicated stuff that goes all the way back to childhood, or it might even be intergenerational. And we want to work with that in a community setting. So we don't do therapy. What we do is a creative cultural workshop where we can look at those issues but actually use some really powerful audiovisual and immersive tools.
To me, it sounded like something that we could really benefit from as a community, but also we were, I believe, capable as a small, very small regional gallery of being able to achieve as well.
So I've forged a really close working relationship with Marianne Wobke over the past few years. She's someone with a really unique skill set as a midwife and someone who's worked with trauma over the years as well as being an artist. And her work is really focused on looking at early life experiences and breaking cycles of trauma.
I'm keen to be involved in anything that's outside the current system that's currently not working. The Indigenous knowledge systems, Kanyini and Dadidi, are really fundamental to the work that I do and certainly to my doctoral research. And in very simple terms, they realign us back to the Indigenous way of being, which is really a quantum worldview.
She knows a lot about early life trauma, the impact of attachment relationships and, neglect and trauma, all those things that can happen to us very early on that have a major impact. So she knows that from a sort of psychotherapeutic perspective, from her training as a nurse, but then she fuses that with Indigenous knowledges that are all about the importance of connecting.
With the idea of bringing the edge of the present as well as a program, that's where we sort of started. That was our starting point. Then something occurred. What was it again?
Tonight, there's confirmation the coronavirus has reached Australia.
In a public health emergency.
Authorities just don't know how widespread this could be.
COVID, I think, changed the way that everybody works. We realised that you couldn't just rock up in a community and deliver something that would always go to plan. And so I think it made us really think about how to respond to the messiness of people's lives and the difficulties that we're all experiencing.
When I first heard about the big anxiety, I went, yeah, sounds cool. Count me in. Sounds like something our community really needs. Yeah, let's bring it. Yeah. And I had a little bit of criticism. I had a couple of people stand over me and go, who do you think you are and what do you think you're doing and who are these people coming? And they're just going to fly in and fly out and, this is ridiculous. We don't know anything about them. I said, I'm trusting the process. These guys are very well qualified. And if someone wants to come and help our community, why wouldn't we? Why would we say no?
Cynthia popped in and says, hey, there's going to be this workshop. It'd be really good if you came along, given that you have interaction with people who can have mental health issues. And my thought pattern was, all right, I have no idea what it's about, but I'll go check it out.
Well, Matthew's episode, we were still getting over the shock of that. And Cynthia didn't know because I didn't say nothing to anyone. And she rang me and said, Nanette, we're having this conference. Would you like to come along? And I hummed and hawed. And I said, yeah, Friday, I'll come along, see what it's all about. And
I think initially I kind of ignored it for a little while because, it is in that I'd have to address my own anxiety and sort of stuff. And I think it may have been like 3 days before Cynthia did the reminder, like, are you going to come? And I was like, you know what? Yeah, like, why not?
Boom, 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 it just happened. And sometimes it's good to just go, yeah, let's do this.
And that was another rock classic. Make sure to tune in tomorrow. Coming up next is the news. The Warwick community is reeling from the loss of yet another teenager in tragic circumstances. The family claims the incident occurred due to major issues with the region's hospitals and mental health services. After visiting the hospital...
The events that we're doing tonight are really a response to something that happened in the local community a couple of weeks ago with the tragic death of a local man.
And it felt like we couldn't really not address it when we were already doing the big anxiety event and Edge of the Present here. It felt that we needed to also action something to support the community after this suicide.
The premise of what we were going down there was to hold this community while they were in shock and grief, this acute stage of grief, and to listen.
How do you feel about bringing a long table about suicide? I went, yeah, bring it. Like, that sounds amazing. Needs to happen. It's one of those conversations that no one talks about. No one talks about mental health. No one talks about depression. No one talks about suicide.
We're not here to judge. We're not here to facilitate. If anything, we're here to hold the space. The long table reminded me deeply of yarning circles that our mob have done for millennia. So at the long table, like a yarning circle, we ask that you hold the space and listen deeply to the person that's sharing, that we don't interrupt. We invite those who wish to speak to come to the table and sit and share from the table, not from the audience. This creates an intimacy and a safe space for you to share what you wish to share without fear of interruption or judgment.
The long table was developed by the artist Lois Weaver, who came to our festival in 2017. It's basically a non-hierarchical discussion format. So you set up a table, it's a bit like a dinner party. Anybody can come up and join, but you speak to the table if and when you want to. So there are no expert panellists, there's no moderator, whatever you want to say goes.
It created a holding space that is very similar to what an elder would hold in a sharing circle.
So it's a really brilliant tool for situations where people just need to be heard.
I brought along with me Aaron Blades, extraordinary young man, Indigenous fella.
Growing up in Toowoomba, you know, it's a quite regional area, so you do hear a lot of what affects the different communities around here, but I didn't know that, you know, the depth of, you know, what some of these families in the community are actually going through out there. It's being able to sit there and just listen to these people and listen to, you know, their cry for help. For the people that came forward that night, you know what I mean, I take my hat off to them. You know, it's not the easiest thing to do is to come out and talk about your mental health and unload those things to strangers.
I'm Nanette.
Hey, Nanette.
I'm from the Cooma tribe out in Bollen. That's where we originate from, my mother. Yep. My grandson, he's now 23. He tried to hang himself just 3 weeks ago. I didn't know what was going to happen. I thought, what's all these people going to talk about here? And then as time got on, I thought, oh, well, they're all telling a story about suicide. And so, yeah, I thought, well, I might as well go to the table with them. I don't usually, but I don't know what made me. But I did anyway, yeah.
So I came to the long table due to my nephew passing away through suicide. Really wanted to do something positive out of it all. And, came to the long table. It was nothing like I had painted in my head. It was really good. I loved the fact that it was presented like being at a dining table and like family, and everyone got to have a say and there was no judgment, and just the openness of people, and that people were getting validated with their stories.
I said when I said I would come that I didn't think I'd speak. People who see this, who know me, will laugh. I'm somebody who can talk under dry cement, not just wet cement. Once I felt comfortable within that long table discussion of that my experience had value to add, I thought, I'm on board. I'm here. I was there to support a friend, but I went, the adage I use is, if me telling my story saves one life, that's a hell of a good start. It really felt like we were connecting, and we were people who'd never met. And I thought, we're just talking. We shared tears, we shared coffees, we shared numbers, and went, hey, and I thought, let's make this a bigger thing.
After listening, and, you know, just all of a sudden I felt that comfortable that I just started talking, you know, and things just kept coming. It wasn't meant to be like that, but it just came out, you know, and I thought maybe I just needed to do that, and it was just a place that I felt comfortable enough to do it. The long table would be great with mental health because it'd be just like a yarning circle, and everybody sort of expresses their opinion, expresses what they have to say, and it stays there. But people take away from each, from the session, their own little bit that they need to help them until the next one, because then people don't feel like they're being singled out.
Initially, I wasn't going to attend. I was a bit anxious about it, wondering what would happen. But in actual fact, the format, that's a very gentle format. I think of one speaker at a time coming to the table and people can sit back and listen. People definitely opened up, and some of the things that people shared were just so profound. And I think the long-term benefit has been that there's been connections made with people at that event that have continued to meet and support each other and hopefully drive change within that community and feed the expansion of some services. So I think it was a really significant event for our community.
I think it was just great to have a community long table. I think it would be good to have another one and bring more people into that conversation and how it's impacted their lives. It's not about blaming a person, it's about how do we change the systems, because they're broken, because they're not working. We're having too many people die.
Something I don't know how you can, but it's depression, anxiety, and try and make sense of it as a mother.
Yeah. It's like, why?
So, yeah, and you will never know why. It's just something that you'll never understand, really. Yeah. You just got to come to terms with it.
Do you want a cold drink, Billy? Do you want a soft drink?
And then eventually, that 21 years I've been. Yeah. So eventually it does subside.
We immediately met the week after the event completed here in Warwick. We knew, all of us, that it was uber important to maintain our train of thought.
Yeah, Cynthia said, why don't we all just meet and try and get together and try and do something, put it out there.
After going to the Big Reach in Warwick, I was on an absolute high and just felt like for the first time in a long time that there was a place I was supposed to be. And it was such a great opportunity to be part of that, because for a 2-day workshop to be able to change my outlook on life is just, I can't even explain the immense change that's made. And I think not only for me, but for my little family as well.
It's really just an offer to use all the different resources, whether it's the virtual reality tools, some Bowen therapy or kinesiology, or participate in some visual arts or forum theatre.
Well, I know everybody has had, it's had an impact on them decluttering. Decluttering was a theme that everyone was like, oh, I feel like, I want to get up and clean up my house kind of thing.
My work life is with people living with disability and understanding the relationship between their mental health and what's going on, and it's very visible in their homes. And I went, oh crap, that's me. I had been hoarding. I was buying stuff and bringing stuff and I didn't want to face, I could not move myself enough to be tidy. So I cleaned up.
Cynthia rang up again and said, Nanette, they're having a conference in Brisbane, would you like to come along? I said, oh well, why not?
We all travelled together, so there was Nanette, myself, Cynthia and Kushla.
Yep, let's do this. We got to go. We've got to go.
It just ended up being 4 of us coming from Warwick and going down, and everyone was like, wow, that was so pleased that we went.
The amazing stories that I heard down there is just, it just blew me away, and I thought, boy, it's marvellous to see them people are even standing there talking for what they've been through.
Absolutely adore Marianne's work. It's just mind-blowing. I think everyone should experience her workshops. Like, she has something really powerful in that. It just really takes you on an amazing journey.
I think her thing, if you keep going, it's like a little flame, every time, and it just keeps you burning. Because this time I was just like, I wasn't afraid to let go, as I was on the first day here in Warwick. This time I just let go, and I actually let the music move me.
It was pretty amazing. I did struggle, like being in the big city, and being at the Big Reach in Brisbane was a lot different to my experience in Warwick.
It's this continuation of a journey. You don't do CPR or first aid training once and then, hey, you know everything. You continue to develop those skills over a number of years around first aid and CPR. Similar thing.
Because each time you have a workshop, it's the same workshop, but it takes you on another healing journey, and more processes happen within you, and, it's only creating great things.
I walked into the storm, though I knew I may not make it back. I had to feel the sting of the rain on my skin, tattoo needles of pain. Hear the wind howl as I added my screams, ripped from within, daring Mother Nature to match my anger. Futile words whipped away, to land in some far-off place, where another language spoken in ancient tongues picked the anger from amongst the bones. Rage. Pure, unadulterated rage. Erupting, spewing, sobbing, crying. Take it all, I screamed, all. I do not want this, I cried. I am not brave enough to endure. Let me go, I whispered. I am a child with no parent to hold me close. She heard me. She knew my pain. The storm was around me and through me, wrapped me up in tumultuous arms and became me. Washed clean, cold seared me to the bone. Arms and legs begging me to stop. Heart ripped from its roots, bruised but not broken, rattled in its cage. The fight was done, the storm was over. Sanguine, ethereal, potent. I walked out, the thunder abated in my soul.
Yeah, that's fine. Well, I know, I remember.
I'm Jeff.
Yeah. At
Like Nat King House, I don't forget it.
the big anxiety.
Yeah.
One of the biggest things that I got personally, and I think the other ladies as well, was that you can have a medical degree and you can have all the fancy uni degrees, but sometimes lived experience is what you need. And it gave us that, it gave me that, you know what, actually, I don't have to, I still will further my study, but I can do something now. Like, I can make a change now. I don't have to wait. We speak a lot about lived experience, and we all have our different stories that give us the ability to understand and relate to a lot of people.
The change we're trying to create within the community is that, it's okay to talk. It's okay to, talk about someone that has suicided.
Is a sense of healing that comes from helping others, that we aren't just here to go through life as though it's our own private television program, that we are here to be able to touch the lives of those around us for the best possible reason.
We envisage having an ongoing monthly, whatever, we're not sure. We're still in the planning stages, but just like the big anxiety does the workshops, pops up here and there, we want to have that as ongoing, because we want ongoing change in the community.
I hope it's something that could get started in the community and stay in the community. That's what I would like to see for anyone and everyone that needs that help. But as I said, not just a short term, it's got to be a long term. It's no good having it here today and taking it away tomorrow.
We all share a very common vision, and we all have these really good strengths that we can bring to what we're doing. And we get it. If we just gung-ho, we won't get it right. So we know that we have to be right first, before we can go off and save the world.
So, what were your thoughts on Melbourne?
Yeah, keen.
Yeah. Holly, what's your thoughts on Melbourne?
I'm really keen. I would really like to go to it.
It's only 2 days.
We'll see on a bigger scale.
It's a Thursday and a Friday. Hey.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's a Thursday and a Friday holiday.
So it's in the school holiday?
No, it's not. It's the first week back. I think it's, just let me have a look.
It's the 6th and 7th of October. Should be able to get off for it.
Thanks, Gusha. You're good with the memory.
So I'm going to go to that other one that you sent me to, that
Which one?
the one you sent me, I didn't write back to the other day.
Oh, yeah, about suicidal conversations. 6th and 7th. Yeah, you're right. It's the 6th and 7th of October.
Let us know that he had attempted suicide 3 times, the last time being here in our shed. And the only reason he stopped is because it just took too long. So we gathered as a family, so it was more important that I be here. Initially, we came home and he was crying on his bed, and his sister came and got me, and I talked to him then. And then we got Levi and Adrian up, and we sat, all of us, Levi, Adrian, Nikita, Michaela, Darren and I, and we talked to Mason about why, what was going on with what was his thought process, and he was just feeling absolutely hopeless. He felt like an absolute failure at 20, as though there was some magical thing he wasn't hitting. And we talked like, with Heather having suicided in January, it just the thought process around not being there because of that. And it wasn't until he sat down with us that he understood the impact of his decision and what that would have looked like for me. And it took a couple of days for me to get angry over that. I took a while to process around that whole, I could have had another child suicide on me here. And it was having the conversation with him around, you are very loved, and we are here. It really was just a confirmation or affirmation for him that we love him, and that to not have him here was just something that it wasn't about us. It wasn't about me, and it wasn't about anyone else except Mason, and the loss of, there's so much life in front of you. You're 20. There are so many different lives. You can have several lives within a life. Yeah. I thought about it afterward, that had I not had the involvement of being exposed emotionally
and being vulnerable in that environment and being able to freely speak with other people in similar situations, but then continuing that with the ladies that we see, I don't think I would have handled it. In fact, I don't think I would have handled the time from Heather's death, because think about it, Heather suicided January 2020. Between January 2020 and July, August of 2022, I had another child that wanted to suicide. If I hadn't had those tools that I've been given of being able to remove ego and actually look at the issue on its own, I wouldn't have handled that the way I did. When we had the last meeting, I'd come home and I had been talking about it with Darren about being in other people's houses, and the thing that I see that's missing in this town is there is nowhere we go where you don't have to have monetary compensation or some kind of involvement. You have to belong to something in order to access it. And I kind of really want to cut through all of that. And I understand that you've got to be circumspect and do due diligence. However, the situation or what's going on in this world doesn't really wait for those things. This isn't us getting together and discussing how we're going to help the community. This is saying, come on in. To me, today was important for a reconnection with Cynthia, because Cynthia has been at the nucleus of everything that has occurred.
For me, like I went to Melbourne, that was amazing, doing Marianne's process again and just being involved with the whole big anxiety. That's kind of just building on what we've done earlier in the year here, Brisbane, Melbourne, coming back to Warwick. You know, it's just been building a capacity and momentum and a healing process within me. And I think that's what happened when I come back from NAM, was that I just went, whoa, that was huge. I needed to rest because I was done, burnt out, because it's been a huge year. But we have managed to organise a grief and loss workshop, partnering with Blue Care next year. So I've actually done the training, so I'm going to co-facilitate with the lady that comes from Brisbane. So then I'll be fully qualified. It's a volunteer role again. And yeah, but it's such a great program and great content. It would be really great to have more of them. We don't have anything within our community that's an ongoing support system, because it's very hard to find any support for anyone. I've tried to find some support for multiple people this year, and it's been very difficult. It's been a long process. I was always giving, but now I've established boundaries through Marianne's process. I think I've done some great work this year. I feel like I've come through this tunnel and seen light at the end. And I'm not sure whether that's because I was getting closer to seeing Marianne's process again and doing the workshops, or it was just part of the process that, you know, this will be the 4th time I've been through it this year. So I've found it very powerful, like incredibly profound, actually.
After the Melbourne event, as a team, we came together to talk about what next for Warwick. And certainly my concern is so often there's great traction made, brilliant community engagement, and then lack of funding or lack of motivation or whatever, it falls over and everything dissipates and has to start again. So I was really excited by the idea that we could create another event at Warwick. what we needed to move forward and a grassroots level approach was to adapt how we held the space for this particular workshop in what we provided to really allow the community to bond even further, to work even deeper, but to really develop that strength and resilience as a community.
You know, it's not hard to fly in and deliver a program and it all goes well. The real challenge is to do something that stays with people, that people can make ongoing use of and that we can build on.
The workshop that Jill and the team and I designed, from my perspective, I wanted it to look at some pretty challenging things, as in the importance of self-reflection, that healing is an inside job. And I wanted to frame that in why would we do this challenging work together? Because it's the foundation of creating a community of care.
As with any good therapy, it's about enabling us to connect to ourselves and to the world in general, and to allow ourselves to grow in the ways that we want to. And sometimes we just need some support to work through that, to open up to experience.
Here comes trouble. I wanted to go, and I argued with myself the week before, and I was self-talking myself out of it over the weekend and giving all these reasons for why it wasn't possible. And Darren's like, if it's that important to you, just go. I know what it does for me because I've seen what's happened with the two previous, and this one I knew that I needed to be there. So I made it happen.
So I guess there was mixed emotions of being really excited and also nervous, I guess, because once again, you're going to be showing a whole lot of people, sometimes strangers, your vulnerable side.
This time of year is extremely busy, so it wasn't until I came sliding into this week, it was like, wow, I'm so excited. Yeah.
Basically, what we're trying to create is a bottom-up approach to health and healing that's Indigenous-led. There's certainly been a change over the last few years with people like Jill Bennett entering the mental health space and really creating a major radical shift in how we're approaching mental health services. You are participating in changing the world, and you really are. We know how to get better. What we need is support and funding to do that. We know that people are the experts in their own life, and if we support them with what they need, they will transform. And this is what we want to capture in this group. So having a stolen generation history where I've worked with so many people who feel so disconnected from that source, the emphasis of my work has really come to be around amplifying that we're not broken. This whole narrative that there's something wrong with us is taking us further and further into that narrative. What I came to realise was the path to freedom was really about embracing my own healing, and in doing that, sharing that process with others.
You know, the biggest problem with mainstream treatment of suicide prevention and mental health is the institutionalised environments that people are put in to try and treat their illnesses. I went through the mainstream avenues and tried to find a way to be treated, but it just wasn't for me, so I turned to my culture. I've re-engaged with my people, with my language, with my song and dance, so I think being able to marry those together and bring them into a space like in Warwick is really an eye-opener for the participants to be able to see that the possibilities are endless when we talk about healing ourselves.
Everything that has added to her experience, her own Aboriginal working, her own midwifery and her own counselling, encapsulated in that format, that was really natural for me, because for me, I think wānanga, which is essentially a workshop. So to be able to be involved in that meant that I had something to add.
So the road trip really came about around the 30 or so years that I've worked with people with enhanced states of awareness to drop into an alpha state, and music, breathing, a safe environment will do that. Their analytical brain will shut down and they will start to see the world through images. And for me as a midwife, in my appreciation of the perinatal, we're in that pre-verbal imaginal world, and that's when things start to get really interesting.
Marianne's road trip is the centrepiece of what we do in Warwick, and this is an immersive experience that takes us on a perinatal journey. So that's that time from conception through to early infancy, when we're in the womb, we're in a nice, safe environment, but then it can become quite toxic. And her work is really about focusing on how we identify what happens in that journey, what goes wrong for us. You know, maybe if we've experienced neglect and abandonment or trauma in early life and we get stuck in patterns and places that are quite toxic, how do we work to detoxify those?
So in traditional times, we were meticulous in how we protected the first 1,000 days of life. These were our old people coming back. So we understood the extreme vulnerability and we revered the feminine. The road trip is using music that takes people on the journey through all the landscapes of the perinatal. And it not only familiarises you with what those locations are and how they can support us as humans in this human experience, but they can show us where we get stuck and where toxicity can start to create problems.
I've had significant issues since having an epidural, that my feet and hands and spine and hips have not been great. But since Tuesday, they've been nearly restored, I would say, to what it was 10 years ago. Yeah, I can actually feel my feet. So that's pretty life-changing. Each time you do the process with Marianne, it's another level. That's how I see and have felt the process. Yeah, it's pretty powerful.
I decided to go find the energy, which was hard, to go to the big anxiety event. I've missed several others just because I'm so busy. And so I did it and I thought, oh, well, I'll go for one day. I don't know, something weird happened. Like, I don't know. It was really deep. I was so surprised. I actually brought up, because I've been wondering what to do with my life now. Just things coming in my mind, what I want to do. And this is like in the back of my mind, and all of this is coming up, and I'm lying on the floor with a bunch of people. And then I'm crying, I don't cry.
The Tuesday with the road trip really took me to a dark, dark place. That was dark. It was like, I wanted to get up and throw chairs. Dark. So that's why I knew I had to be back on the Wednesday. I had to come back Wednesday because I knew that road trip would pick me back up. And that's exactly what it did. Like, I was, hallelujah, I found God, happy, you know, tigger. I was bouncing again. Like, I've forgotten that level of energy that I've always had, and I found it.
Today, morning by morning, this journey's been haunting me. check myself at the door. I don't know her anymore.
My relationship with Cynthia has developed over this period of time, and our responsibility is to help provide her with the resources, internal and external, to allow her to continue to flourish as somebody that I see very much as a go-to person.
I'm just forever grateful for her putting so much time and effort into thinking about what we needed and specifically designing that for us. I think I feel now, compared to before I started working with big anxiety, I feel like there's been maybe 10 years of growth in a short span of time. Yeah, that you would maybe not even get in a lifetime. I feel it's really great that we've got that wraparound support coming into our community, given that there has been so much disconnection here. When someone from outside comes in, it just levels it.
If you do need help, like if you're depressed or anxiety, or to just know that these people are there to lean on, talk to.
The first workshop we did, it was I walked out like mind blown. It made a transformation in me to change from being that quiet person that didn't talk about all these things and mental health and suicide to somebody who felt empowered, and I felt like I had a voice again. Whereas this one, I think, was more confronting to myself. It took me on that self journey of realising, hey, this is what's happening with you, and now it's time to look at those triggers and address them.
I don't know how to quantify what has occurred or how to put a word to it. The difference between where I was even from April through to the current event is phenomenal. Is like the closest word I can think of, because I've become confident. I own that my story is validated and is of value to others. I have doubted myself for so long. You know, that humble, trauma-based response stops you from actually embracing who you are. To know that I'm back in my power, like, I know I'm phenomenal. I know that I will be a voice in this town. It's a given. Would I have said that in April? God, no. But I think that's part of what I've learned, is that start actually believing it when people say, you know, you're a really good person, you know, start believing it.
I felt I connected with Alex right from the get-go. As a sensitive and empathic human being, I feel people's pain very deeply, and I deeply, deeply felt that woman's pain. And there was a lot in that workshop that Alex found extremely challenging. So we created a space for Alex where she didn't want to leave.
My experience here, the first time was I was unsure of what to do and how to comprehend everything, how to process it. And this time I'm a lot more open and willing to participate more.
There's not one big thing, but all the little things that has helped me and helped me to help my kids to look at things differently.
I would love that event to come back like next week, weekly.
When Aaron said, it's not what's wrong with you, it's what's happened to you. And I think that really hit with me, especially working with youth. Often we go, oh, what's wrong with you? What if we change that up? Because there's nothing wrong with them. It's what's happening to them or happened to them.
The team really weaves together a lot of different skills, from psychotherapy and counselling through a whole lot of art and design practices. But the idea is to try to create a new way of operating.
This is actually a model that needs to progress, that this is a way to kind of help, particularly health services who are very narrow in their thinking, to be able to expand their thinking. And there's a model that could include other voices. Of course, people with lived experience, artists, and then mental health experts. Bringing those groups together is obviously going to help new thinking emerge.
Well, the impact on the community from the big anxiety and from all this coming together is the connecting of people and the connecting of groups. This has opened a conversation and it's brought people together from all different fields.
I think the art has a really important role in that it helps people find a platform to communicate.
This is the future. You're seeing it absolutely in all of the reports and all of the strategies, that this is where it needs to come from. It needs to come from within.
We're going back to ancient practice, which is yarning, you know, even singing and dancing, and there's power in that, you know, pulling apart the Western ways and going back to those original ways.
It's creating community, it's reaffirming people and their journeys and going, your feelings, your emotions and what you're going through are valid.
You know, I think the beauty about what the girls are doing over there in the community is bringing it back to the grassroots and back to where these discussions need to start being held. Every community in this country is screaming for help around mental health. So, you know, if we can be that voice and create that ripple effect to instill some meaningful change, it's, you know, I'd love to be involved in that.
You know, I sat and thought about this last night and how all of this is about reaching out to others and showing them that you don't have to be anyone except who you are, and everything that you do to manage your grief is okay. And there are people out there to help you find a way to treasure the memory, not remember the pain.
So without the big anxiety, none of this would have happened and none of these people would have come together in this community because not everyone knew each other. We didn't know everybody's skill set. Yeah, so it's created a community.
It was bigger this time, and in that group of people, there were people that could network with us to help out as well. I feel like out of this one, we've gotten a lot of direction within the group as well.
Well, I'd like to see it bigger and better. More people involved, because the more people, well, you know, you can be there to help others.
We had no idea what we was beginning. Like, and I've said it before, it was just hippie shit. But what hippie shit, you know, like, so cool. It's come from understanding no one needs to be an expert. You just need to have heart and the ability to drive forward. One of the things I'd add about the big anxiety and the growth that I've had is I would never have had the confidence to do what I'm doing now and open that space. Never. I would have dreamed about it and thought about it and known that it was something that I wanted to do, but I would not have done it.
When you have a support system in place that go, you know, it's okay to be sad, it's okay to cry, it's okay not to have a bad day, you know. It's a vastly different world that we create for people. And for me, that's important. We'd like to hopefully have something in place in 12 months' time that's going to be sustainable and ongoing. You know, something that is permanent.
Every day, I know that I have more than enough energy and more than enough drive to make something happen. What do I see from us needing from the big anxiety with our group? Simple. Teach us so we can pass it on.